Hello and welcome back, Math 10. Today we're going to look at multiplying polynomials a little bit more. So last class we went over the distributive property. Now we're going to make some laws or shortcuts with the distributive property. So let's first look at this positive bunch. So we're squaring numbers that are being added together. So these are my positive bunch. Okay? So if I look at this, I'm going to first start this off by doing the distributive property. Well, I'm going to solve this out. Squared means we have x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 3, okay? Now here we have to go x multiplied by x. Remember, x must be multiplied by x and plus 3. So I'm going to get x squared, then x multiplied by 3, which will give me plus 3x. Now I must go 3 multiplied by x, which will give me plus 3x, and then 3 multiplied by 3, which is going to give me plus 9. Okay, so I add these all together. Now I'm going to combine like terms. I'm going to be left with x squared plus 6x plus 9. All right, let's try the next one now, b. Once again, we're going to have to separate because the squared means we have a plus 4 multiplied by a plus 4. Okay, now I want to multiply everything out. So I'm going to go a multiplied by a and then a multiplied by 4. So it's going to be that one and then that one. So I'm going to get a squared plus 4a. Then I want to go 4 multiplied by a, then 4 multiplied by 4. So that's another plus 4a plus 4 times 4 is 16. I combine these terms. I'm going to be left with a squared plus 8a plus 16. Okay. So first I'm going to expand this out. So I'm going to be left with z plus 5 multiplied by z plus 5. Okay, so let's multiply. Z goes into both. Z goes to z and z goes to plus 5. So we have z squared plus 5z. And then I must go 5 multiplied by z and 5 multiplied by 5. And they're all positive, so that's plus 5z plus 25. Now I combine all these together. What am I going to get? I'm going to get z squared plus 10z. Right? 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 25. Huh. Well, we're starting to get a little bit of a pattern here. Look at how these equal to those. So let's just try my last one here. See if we can get the pattern. J. So I'm going to get J plus 10 multiplied by J plus 10. Okay? So let's multiply this out. The j must be multiplied to j and then into the 10. So I have j squared plus 10j. Now I have to go 10 multiplied by j, which will give me plus another 10j. Then I'm going to go 10 multiplied by 10, which is plus 100. Okay? Now I'm going to combine everything together. So I'm going to be left with j squared plus 20j plus 100. Okay. Now, here we have everything set up. So it's a and b, and we're squaring it. So if we're squaring the sum of two things, well, this is equal to a plus b. This is the general form. So we have a plus b multiplied by a plus b. So here I go. We have a multiplied by a, gives me a squared. We have a multiplied by b, which gives me plus ab. Then I have b multiplied by a. That's the same thing as ab, because b times a is a times b. So I have plus ab. Then I'm going to have b multiplied by b. I use my distributive property, which is plus b squared. Now I combine all these together, I'm going to end up getting a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Now looking at this, right here, that's kind of like my general formula. So if I have the sum of two things and I'm squaring it, I square this, then I go this multiplied by this, and then I multiply that by 2. So I have 2 of these, this times this, and then I have this squared. So it's this squared, 2 of this times this, and then this squared. All right? Okay, let's take a look at now my negative gang. So now we're looking at squaring a difference of things. So squaring one of them is negative. Okay, so here we go. We have x minus 3, expand it, x subtract 3. Okay, multiply this out, distributive log gain, I'm going to get x squared, and then minus 3x, because this is a negative, so I have to multiply by negative 3x. Then we go negative 3 multiplied by x is negative 3x. And then I go negative 3 multiplied by negative 3 is positive 9. So I combine these all together. I am going to be left with x squared minus 6x plus 9. Look how this one compares to the one above. Let's take a look at my next one. We have a subtract 4 squared. So it's a subtract 4 multiplied by a subtract 4. Okay? Now let's take a look. The a must be multiplied into both a and negative 4. So it's going to give me a squared minus 4a. The negative 4 must be multiplied into a and negative 4. So it's going to give me minus 4a multiplied by positive 16. Now I combine everything together. I'm going to be left with a squared minus 8a plus 16. Look how this compares to this. Okay? The only difference is the negative. Let's take a look at my last one here I'll do. So we're going to have, before I do my law, so I'm going to have, this is equal to z minus 5 multiplied by z minus 5. Okay, so multiply z by z and then z by 5, which is going to end up giving me z squared subtract 5z. Then I have to multiply negative 5 by z and negative 5 by negative 5, which will give me another negative 5z, and then plus 25 squared. Okay, so I combine all these together, I'm going to get z squared minus 10z plus 25. Oops. That should be just 25. 5 squared is 25. Okay? Now, let's see if we can make a general rule with the AB. Alright? So here we have A subtract B multiplied by A subtract B. Let's use our distributive property now. A times A will give me A squared. A times negative B is negative AB. Negative B times A is negative AB. And negative b times negative b is positive b squared. So here we're left with a squared, combined like terms, minus 2ab plus b squared. Well, look at that. So basically, anytime I have a difference of two numbers and we're squaring them, or two terms, a difference of terms, and we're squaring it, what do? I square this one, then I multiply this by this twice, and then I square that one. Okay, and it's going to be negative. All right. Now, let's take a look at this mixed group where we have negatives and positives. So I have a sum and a difference. So the first one here, oh, it's already expanded, so I'm just going to go x multiplied by x gives me x squared. X multiplied by negative 3 gives me negative 3x. Then I want 3 multiplied by x, positive 3 gives me plus 3x. Then I'm going to go 3 multiplied by negative 3 will give me negative 9. Now combine like terms here. I have x squared. Done. Negative 3 plus 3 gives me 0. And then I have negative 9 left over, minus 9. And that is my solution. Okay, let's try B. Notice the same questions except one's positive, one's negative. So they can't be squared. So one's a sum, one's a difference. So I'm going to go a multiplied by a gives me a squared. A multiplied by negative 4 is negative 4a. Then 4 multiplied by a is positive 4a. Then 4 multiplied by negative 4 is negative 16. Alright? Now combine like terms, these two cancel off. Negative, if I take away 4a, then add 4a, cancel off. So I'm going to have a squared minus 16 is my answer. Look what's happening here. So I'm just going to do the j's for my last one here, so D. So we have to go j times 10, and then j times j, and then j multiplied by 10. So I'm going to get j squared plus, it's negative 10, so I'm going to subtract 10j. Now I go positive 10 times j is plus 10j. And then I'm going to go positive 10 multiplied by negative 10 is minus 100. These j's will cancel off, so I'm left with j squared minus 100. Okay? So, here's a little shortcut for this. We'll see if we can develop a little rule. So anytime I have These two numbers are the same. A sum of two terms, and it's the same terms that I multiply by the same terms, and the difference of the two terms, what do we end up getting? I end up getting, well, a multiplied by a is a squared. Okay? Then I'm going to go a multiplied by negative b is negative ab. Then I go b multiplied by a is plus ab. And then I'm going to have to go b multiplied by b is plus b squared. Oops, sorry. One's negative, one's positive, so that's negative b squared. Alright? Now, let's combine my like terms. I'm left with a squared minus b squared. So any times I have two terms, a and a are the same, except one is adding them, the sum, and one is the difference, a subtraction of those terms. All I do, and I multiply those two things together, I just do that. I just square both of them, and it's called a difference of squares. Okay? So, here we go. Let's take a look at this sheet here. We want to expand these. Well, we learned a little rule. This is adding. So what's my rule? We look right here. I go a squared, so it's the first term squared, plus this times this doubled, and then I have to plus that squared. So let's simplify this. I'm going to be x squared. X times 7 is 7x, times 2 is 14x, plus 14x. Then I go plus 49. That's kind of the rule we found out with this here. Okay? Let's try this one. There's a negative in there. So I first must go 3 squared. 3x squared is 9x squared. Then I go 3 times 1 is negative 3x times 2 will give me negative 6x. And then I have to go 1 squared, which is plus 1. Okay? That's it. We kind of made our cheat there earlier. Let's try C. Once again, 2m squared. Okay, and there's a negative, so I have to do the negative rule. So we're using, once again, this one here. Okay, we have a unit. Well, we get 4m squared. Now I'm going to subtract 2 times that is 6m, so it's going to be 12m, right? So you double it, this times this double, and then I square that, which is plus 9. All right, let's try the next one. Here, one's adding, one's subtracting. So I must use my last rule here that we kind of came up with. So let's try that one out. I go 4 times 4 is 16. Then I have to go this. Then I just square these last ones and I subtract minus 49x squared. Okay? Now let's take a look at E. Here we have a difference again. So I go, this multiplied by this gives me 25a squared. And now I want to subtract 9b squared. Okay? Now, here's my last one. I have 2p minus 9q, 2p minus 9q. Well, that's the same thing as saying a difference of them squared, difference of two terms squared. So, we're going to have 2p to the power, or 4p squared, because I square both of these. And then I have to go this multiplied by that, which is positive, which is negative 18. Negative 18 times 2 is going to be negative 36 pq. And then I have to go this times that, which is, and that's squared, which is positive 91q squared. Or sorry, 81q squared. All right? So there we go. Let's try now my next set of questions. It wants us to simplify these to the best we can. So I look at this here. Can't simplify anything in there, but I can multiply this 5. So it's going to give me, distribute property, 5 in there. So I'm going to have 10x minus 15. Then I'm going to multiply x minus 6. Okay? Well, 10x multiplied by 6 gives me 10x squared. 10x multiplied by negative 6 will give me minus 60x. And then 15 multiplied will give me minus 15x. And then that's going to give me positive 90. Okay? All right. Now, let's take a look at this part here. We have combined like terms. I'm going to get 10x squared minus 75x plus 90 is my answer. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Well, the next one, we have the square of the sum of two things, of two terms. So I could use my cheat. So I'm going to go negative 8, and I'm going to have square this, so that's 49p. And then I have to go, this time that's 21, so that's going to be plus 42, that's p squared, 42p, and then that is going to be plus 9. Remember, if it's squaring it, just do that. Now I have to multiply that negative 8 into all of these. And when I do that, I'm going to end up getting negative 392p squared minus, I'm going to 336p, and then we want to subtract 72. Okay? Multiply the 8 into each term. All right, let's try my next one. Now these ones are even bigger problems. So first here, I have one's positive, one's subtracting. So I can use my one cheat there, which will give me a difference of squares. So I'm going to have x squared minus 25. I just square both of those because they're kind of the same. Now I have to subtract. Here, these are different. So I'm going to have to use distributive property here. So I'm going to have x multiplied by x is x squared. X multiplied by 8 is going to give me plus 8x, and then plus 2x, and then this and that is going to give me plus 16. Okay? So I'll multiply everything together. Now combine like terms. I have left x squared minus 25. And I want to subtract x squared plus 10x plus 16. Okay? So if I want to get rid of these brackets, I have to multiply in that negative 1. So I'm going to be left with x squared minus 25 minus x squared. And this negative 1, because there's imaginary 1 there, goes into everything. Minus x squared minus 10x minus 16. So let's combine like terms. Positive x squared minus x squared, those are gone. So I have negative 10x minus 41. Combine those, and that is my answer. So let's try one of these tricky ones here.
Oh, bother.
Wants us to multiply these out. Now, I look at this here, there's no shortcut I could use, I just have to use my distributive law. Okay, so I have to go to 5x into all three of these. So I'm going to be left with 5x to the power 15x to the power of 3, and then we have to go negative 5x times that will be negative 35x squared, and then 5x multiplied by 1 is plus 5x. And then we're subtracting all of this one here, which I'm going to multiply in. Oh, this is going to be a bit longer, so I have to go 4x into 5x. So that's going to be 20x squared. Then I'm going to go 4x into negative 8 is minus 32x. Now I have to go 3x squared into 5x, which is plus 15x cubed. Then I have to go 3x squared into negative 8, which is going to be minus 24x squared. Okay? So now let's combine everything we have in here and leave this as is. So I have 15x to the power of 3 minus 35x squared plus 5x, and I want to subtract all of this. Well, let's combine this here or rearrange it. I'm going to be left with 4x squared, so I have 15x cubed, done, minus 4x squared, minus 32x. Okay, so now there's a negative 1 there that we have to multiply in, so I'm still left with 15x cubed minus 35x squared plus 5x. Now this negative 1 must be multiplied into everything, because remember it's negative 1, so negative 15x cubed, so it's just changing signs, and I have to plus 4x squared plus 32x. Okay? I combine this all together, I'm going to be ending up getting, these cancel off, this here is going to give me negative 31x squared, and we have 5x plus 37x, and that's my answer. Alright? So, here's the next one here. I'll let you guys do that one by yourselves as I continue on to the last question. Now here's our last one, and we're going to have to work backwards for this one. We want to put it into this formula here. So I look at this. What is this expanded? This is the same as x squared plus 2ax, and then we want plus a squared plus b, okay? So right here, ax is equal, 2ax must be equal to 20. So I know 2ax must be equal to 20, okay? So I'm going to divide this by 2, divide this by 2. I get ax is equal to, oh, there's an x there, 20x is equal to 10x. Divide by x, divide by x. I'm going to end up getting a is only equal to 10. So now I found a, okay? So let's plug this back in for what a is. So I'm going to have x squared plus 2 times 10x, and then plus 10 squared plus b. So I look at this again. I'm going to have x squared plus 20x plus 100 plus b. Now I know 100 plus b must equal to 50. So 100 plus b must equal to 50, right? So how do I solve this? B is equal to 50 subtract 100, which is equal to negative 50. So now I know my b, I know my a, and I can put it into that equation. So it's just going to be brackets x plus 10 squared, and then we want to plus negative 50, which is x plus 10 squared minus 50 is my answer. And that's how we do it backwards.
Hey, ship is hip, spelled backwards. And auto is auto backwards. Now I'm scared.
Well, hopefully understood. Good luck as I see you tomorrow in